Can anybody learn to tremolo pick? Well, my honest belief is that yes, they can. Every week I get messages from people saying they've been trying for years to tremolo pick and they still can't do it. Every week I get comments left on my videos saying that people have been trying to tremolo pick for years and they still can't do it. So what we're going to do today is really break down the technique and look at the different elements involved. So how you hold your pick, the angle of the pick, the slant of the pick, whether you're using a big grip, a little grip, a tight grip, a loose grip, where your forearm is on the guitar and how that impacts your grip. And I really want to break it all down to try and troubleshoot any tremolo picking issues that you have. So we're going to do that today. Don't forget to check out my full black metal guitar course. I'll put the link in the description. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get on with it. So the first thing you need to do to improve your tremolo picking is to stop your pick from sliding around when you're playing, because that doesn't help. So I've got a video on modifying your picks, but this is my latest little pick mod that I love, and I'm going to quickly show you now. This will stop your pick sliding around, so try this. So here I have a pick. Here I have a soldering iron. Now I'll show you, actually, let me use this pick because it's got a blank reverse. So this is what I now do to my picks. The melted plastic also sticks out, which creates a really rough edge. I don't know if you can really see that. But basically what that means is your pick doesn't slip out of your fingers. So I do it on both sides. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you've done something to your pick to stop it from slipping out of your grip. This will not slip out of your grip. So the first thing we're going to look at is how you hold your pick. So do you hold it with what I call the circle? Now if you look at the way that grip is, it forms a perfect circle. Do you use what I call the mouth, which is holding it like that? Hail Satan. Okay. Do you hold it somewhere in between? Because each one of those grips will have a completely different feel. If you hold it like that, your hand will be further away from the strings. If you use the mouth, your hand is closer to the strings. Okay, so the circumference of your right index finger, or left if you're right-handed, will completely change how you hold the pick. So that's the first thing. The second is the amount of pick that you have showing. So if you hold the pick directly down like this, you get a certain pick attack, and I'll show you this with the guitar as well in a second. If you have the pick more pointed away, you get a different pick attack. Now I'll show you what that looks like with the guitar on. The way you hold the pick, as I say, completely changes how you play. So if I'm using what I call the circle, then the pick is on the strings, but my right hand is quite a way away, or my knuckles of my right hand are a way away from those strings. If I use the mouth, Hail Satan, then my hand is a lot closer, so that changes things. Secondly, my thumb. Is my thumb flat or is it bent? So if I bend my thumb, because I'm making the circle, you get a certain type of angle, and you also will find that the angle will change as you straighten your thumb. So now I'm using almost this side of the pick rather than this side of the pick. Okay, so flattening or bending your thumb will completely change the angle of the pick. So that's another thing that you can look at. And you can see the angle of the pick there. So it's almost a 45-degree angle. All I'm doing is straightening my thumb. Straightens the pick, reverses the angle of the pick. Okay, so just changing how bent or straight your thumb is will completely change your pick angle. Next we're going to look at forearm position and hand position. So now we're going to look at your forearm position. So if I rest this part of my forearm on the guitar versus this part, I'll get a completely different pick angle. So I'm going to put this outer edge here on, and the angle of the pick there is almost flat. Now I'm going to just move from using this edge of my arm, this edge, to the flat part here. Okay, now just putting that part on the guitar gives me a much bigger angle. Okay, so if I use the outer edge, pick's almost flat. If I use the inside of my forearm, changes that angle. Now obviously if I'm more extreme and I use the inside edge of my wrist, I get a really extreme angle on the pick. So that will make a difference to your playing. Next up, what am I doing with my hand? Am I making the fist? Or am I making the fan? Again, that you can actually pick at the same angle, but it is a completely different feel. So if you're so used to playing with a fist, then try a fan if you can't get the hang of tremolo picking. If you are used to a fan, try a fist. If you're used to a circle, try a smile. If you're used to a smile, try a circle. If you're used to having a certain part of your forearm here on the guitar, try a different angle and see how that feels. Okay, and what you'll find is that there will be a sweet spot for you that makes it easier. Next up is the hand position. So, should your hand be on the guitar, like this, or your wrist and this part of your hand, because you can do it that way, or should it be floating, so that nothing is touching the guitar? Again, completely changes the entire feel, and also completely changes the angle of the pick. So again, experiment with different wrist positions, different forearm positions. You could have your hand on the bridge, so just behind the saddles. Okay, so there my hand is literally positioned on the bridge behind the saddles, so I'm not muting any of those strings. Or you could have your hand up here. So all these things make a difference. So once you've modified your pick, as I have on all of mine, I don't know if you can even see that. Yeah, as you can see, I've got the mods of soldering ironed all of my picks. So those are things you can try. So different forearm positions. So the next thing is, so we've looked at things that affect your angle of your pick, in terms of whether you're on like a 45-degree angle here, or whether you're flat, or even a reverse 45. I think Misha Mansour picks like that. Seems a bit weird, but it works for him. So that's another thing you can consciously do, is change the angle of your pick. So you're almost using the slice of the pick to the flat of the pick, and you will get a different sound to the reverse. That will change the pick. The other thing, as well as the angle, is the slant. So here, as you can see, the pick is flat. You can slant it so your pick is pointing upwards. Or you can even reverse that, so your pick is pointing down. Okay, so all these different things that you can try to change your tremolo picking pattern and your tremolo picking feel and the angle of the pick and the wrist position. There are so many different things you can do. So try each of these, go through one at a time and see what works best. So for example, if you find that making the circle works better than making the mouth, try keeping with the circle and then adapting one of the other things. So then adapting the part of your forearm that is resting on the guitar. Okay, then try having your different wrist positions on the guitar. See if that fixes anything or improves it. And each time something improves the technique or the feel, keep with that and then try and change something else so that you've fixed all the little intricate parts of your picking technique. Just before you do the exercise, there's one other thing I want to talk about, which is how hard you're gripping your pick. So if you've modified your pick, or if you've got a pick with like max grip or something like that, you don't need to grip your pick until your fingers are bleeding. Literally, just take your pick and hold it really, really lightly and just strum gently. All the gain is coming from the amp. The only reason you would pick hard is if you're using pick dynamic, or sorry, change the way you're picking is if you're using pick dynamics, or if you're using a lower gain setting and you want to change the amount of gain that's coming through by picking harder. But if you're using a typical black metal sound, which is high gain, high volume, you literally touch it and you're going to get almost the exact same sound. So take your grip, hold it. Don't take your grip, take your pick. Don't drop it like I just did. Hold it really, really softly and just play. You'll find that you don't need loads of aggression. You don't need loads of firmness in your grip. You can literally just hold it light as a feather and just tremolo pick. So that's the other thing that I wanted to say is don't use too much energy by really trying to play aggressively. When you've got the technique down, by all means, then you can change the amount of aggression that you're playing with. But when you're learning and if you're struggling with it, all that's going to do is tire you out, annoy you, make you ache and make you not want to continue. So literally you don't need any pressure in your grip, and you don't need any force in your right hand. That's literally as light as a feather. I'm barely touching those strings. I'm not playing all the way. It doesn't really make any difference to the sound anyway at this sort of gain level. So don't overdo the amount of force you're using. Just play really gently, and then you can adjust that over time if you need to, which you probably won't. So before I go into the exercise, there's one other thing I want to talk about, which is anchoring. So using these three fingers here, your little finger, your ring finger and your middle finger, and anchoring them on the guitar so that when you're playing, those fingers don't move, and it gives you like a reference point, somewhere for you to focus, or just to keep a specific movement the same. So because if you're not anchoring, then you can move around a little bit more, but when you're anchoring you tend to stay in one place. So the thing I will say about anchoring is if you're tremolo picking lows and you're anchoring, you've got this little movement between your first finger and your middle finger going on all the time. So sometimes I'll use a little bit of Velcro and just Velcro my fingers together so that they're not using this tendon all the time. Okay, so that's anchoring. So here's the exercise. So we're going to play on a single string, just using the bottom A note on the bottom string, so 5th fret of the bottom string, and we're just going to play that. We're going to use a metronome or drum machine at 120 BPM, and I'll do it with the drum machine in a minute, but I'll just show the exercise. So the exercise is to play 7 downstrokes, and on the 8th beat we're going to play 4, so tremolo pick only the last beat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, etc. So it's 7 beats, and then tremolo pick. Okay, so we're just going to do that on that string, and when you're comfortable with that, we're going to then go down to 6 beats of a single note and 2 beats of tremolo picked. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tremolo pick for 2 beats. Then we're going to go down to 5 beats and do the same thing. So then we're tremolo picking for 3 beats, then down to 4 beats, and then tremolo pick for 4 beats. Sorry, that's 5. Then we're going to go down to 3 beats and do the same. Then we're going to go to 2 beats and tremolo pick for 6. And then obviously 1 beat. And then from there, the next stage is continuous tremolo picking. Okay, which should then lead you into being able to tremolo pick on a single string eventually. Then we're going to do the same thing, but with a power chord. So just play the 5th fret power chord on the bottom string. You can literally play this anywhere, it doesn't have to be there. So that was 7 beats of just a single note, and then 1 beat of tremolo pick. Then we're going to go to 6 beats of just a downstroke and 2 beats of tremolo pick. Then 3 and 5, etc. Then 4 and 4. The good thing about this is if you accent beat 1, you should be able to then come back in on beat 1. So if I do it quieter, you should hopefully hear the accent. So I'm really accenting that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which may help you get that timing. So as I say, we're going to start off slowly at 120 BPM, and then you build that up over time. Up to whatever tempo you feel comfortable with. So the next thing, don't just do that on the bottom string, do that on the other string combinations, so the A and the D. The D and the G. The G and the B. And then on the B and the E. Okay, and then you can try, once you've got the hang of that, you can try different combinations, etc. And then also with the single strings, so once you've got the bottom string, move on to the A. And just try that exercise across all the strings, and as I say, start off slowly, start off just playing tremolo picking on 1 beat for every 8, and then increase it And I will now, as I said, I'll do that to the drum machine at 120 BPM, just so you can see what that's like. And I'll stick a 120 beat per minute, and I'll stick a 150 beat per minute track down, so you've got something to practice along to, and I'll put a link in the description to where you can get that from. Hope you enjoyed that video, hope it helped solve some of your problems. See you later.